Hello YouTube and welcome back to Fire Gaming Project. So in this short video, I'm just going to talk about filler patches in general and just kind of go over all the patches so far. So the reason why I wanted to do this video is actually shout outs to one of my viewers. He actually commented a few times and is basically talking about how he may be quitting the game. Okay, I don't want to I don't know if it's okay to like, name the person, so I'm not going to name them, but they're in my comments. But basically, I also discussed, and I'm open about it too, that I was also at one point willing to quit this game as well. Okay, and I'm kind of gonna go over like filler patches in general, whether they're good or bad, so maybe some, like maybe both sides of it, and why I kind of consider quitting at one point as well, and what my plans are for this game moving forward. So if you are interested, please stay tuned. I'll keep this short, of course. So right now, there's not going to be much happening on the screen. I'm just going to leave it basically idle here. But yeah, filler patches. So just a quick trip down memory lane for those of you who may or may not remember or maybe newer to the game. Patch 1.0, obviously the game launched. Patch 1.1, we got some Li Yue, information, and we got Child and Zhongli. Those would not be considered filler patches. Patch 1.2, we got Dragon Spine, right? And that would not be considered a filler patch, and that was later now called a DLC kind of content now because that's a partial full region, right? Because after you complete it, you don't have to deal with it anymore, right? Okay, so patch 1.3. So this was the Chinese New Year event, also known as the Lantern Rite event, right? With Xiao as the main focus, right? So I enjoyed that event. I'm sure, just so we're clear, I enjoyed all of the events so far, to varying degrees. But I will say people were not happy with the fact that 1.3 was light on story and full of little mini games and events and little like short events where you have to go around collecting things, fetch quests, little mini like commissions, basically, things like that, right? Of course, we got our and that set the template now for the current anniversary coming up, where we got like 10 wishes from logging in. We got the whole debacle with the 1 billion Primal Gems giveaway. We'll talk about that in other videos, in my anniversary videos. About the upcoming fan art celebration, right? As well as the whole community drama over their recent Twitter post from Genshin Impact and MiHoYo themselves, where they are talking about like some RNG based, celebratory web events, etc. So there's all that, right? So anyway, so 1.3 was kind of set the tone with how it would be for certain major, let's say, Chinese related events. The reason why I say this is because this game is based in China, technically. It's made by MiHoYo Shanghai. It's an amazing game, as we all agree. But at the same time, they do follow the Chinese calendar and the lunar events, of course, right? So that's fine, right? But then, like, 1.3 was really the beginning of a filler patch. Although it was light on story content, and although we did get new characters, such as Xiao at that time, right? And then later on, I think we got Hu Tao, etc., right? Because Hu Tao was a surprise banner for that one, right? So what is a filler patch? Let's take a moment to think about that. Is a filler patch because there's not much story content, or is it because there's no new characters introduced, or can it only be about story? So in the context of this video, I would consider, just for myself only, I would consider a filler patch to be one where it's just like mini games and events versus like actual heavy storyline development, etc., right? And that's irregardless of rerun banners, because I talk about rerun banners on the upcoming 2.2 potential rerun characters in another video, so do go check that out as well. But that's a separate issue, right? So for the purpose of this video, we're talking about filler patches. So then 1.3 set the precedence, and people were okay with it because it was like a celebration, and it was like, we got a free character, we got wishes, we got all that good stuff, we got Xiao, we got Hu Tao, we got a Kaching banner for those that love Kaching. That's fine. 1.4, Windbloom Festival. Okay, this is where people were getting a little annoyed now. In the beginning, it seemed like, ooh, amazing, right? Because the minigames were fun because it was basically like Fall Guys, that other game out there, right? Fall Guys. And everyone was like, yeah, it's great, right? But then there was issues with that too because it got really repetitive really, really fast. And 1.4 was where a lot of notable YouTubers and streamers, whether Twitch or YouTube, they stopped playing the game. Like, they stopped. They released videos that they're quitting, or that they actually had a lot of dismay with it. They enjoyed the content, but then they also felt like it was a chore at some point because it gets boring and stale fast, okay? And 1.4, again, did not have major story content either. 1.4 was the first patch where they started to rerun characters, with the first being Venti. And that was amazing in the sense that I didn't get Venti because I didn't start this game at 1.0. I started at the end of 1.0, at the end of Venti's banner. So yeah, so I got him then, so I was happy there for that. But then story-wise, it was kind of like, oh my god, another festival, oh, another bunch of new mini games. Although I will give props to the developer for trying to keep the game fresh by bringing in different elements from other games out there, etc., to bring it to our Genshin community and to the landscape. So that's kind of cool, right? So there's that, definitely. Again, I'm not dragging them through the mud here. I'm just trying to say we're talking about filler patches, right? So I would say 1.3 and 1.4 are definitely filler patches, okay? 1.4 also brought back Child as a rerun. I do talk about him potentially being a rerun character again for 2.2, so do check out that video. But that also introduced Rosaria, who was technically a fan favorite at that point up to then, and then afterwards, not so like she's still popular, but I don't think anyone talks about her anymore because at the end of the day, people only care about the 5 stars, right? So let's be real, right? Usually there's hype about 4 stars until they're released, and then afterwards, like, eh. Okay, so that being said, okay, so 1.5, we got the return to basically Li Yue with Zhongli and the Azdaha storyline. So I would not consider 1.5 a filler patch for the purpose of this video because we did get story progression there, like actual story content, like our conquest. We got chapter 2 of Zhongli's story. He got rerun as well, right? After he was rebuffed, and also the Geo Resonance was rebuffed, etc., etc., okay? And I did pick up constellations for him, so I was happy there. But regardless, 1.5 also introduced the Serenity Pot and all this other stuff. So people also consider, maybe the Serenity Pot is considered filler, but it's not because it's kind of like setting this, in my opinion at least, it's setting the stage for continued development because to this day we continue to use the Serenity Pot. Of course, right now for 2.0 and 2.1, the Serenity Pot has become like we don't really do much with it anymore, right? It's just the little farming thing and the fishing thing. It's not a big deal anymore, but it's still there and there's potential for them to make it better, right? You know? So 1.5 I would not consider a filler patch. 1.6, however, with the Klee's Midsummer Island Adventure, right? And I keep making the mistake of calling it a Mid-Island Adventure, but anyway, it's Midsummer Island Adventure. That was a fun and cute event. That was where they were introducing the mechanics of using the Wave Rider boat to travel between islands and the waypoints, right? So that was cool and cute, and unfortunately that was considered a DLC patch, not a filler. Because it was all new content. There was story. The story is a side story though, because technically it's not it is canon to the main chronology of the game, and it gives like Klee another storyline, so to speak, right? And Barbara and Jean got some story in there, and they got their outfits, etc., right? But then like it's not a do or die like patch either, because like you didn't need to play that patch, and you would still know what happened in the story. So some people consider it a filler and some people don't, okay? I'm more of the latter. I don't consider that a filler. I consider it a DLC, kind of like Dragonspine, where it's like you do it all in that one patch and then you're done with it, right? The only difference is Dragonspine still exists on our map, whereas in 1.6, those islands, the Golden Apple Archipelago, has now disappeared. Now, of course, there are speculation, and we don't know for sure, that maybe they'll somehow bring those islands back in the future, because technically they're assets that the game has developed, right, and spent money on, right? So they could probably reuse them, I don't know, for a future storyline maybe, or bring them back on an annual basis as like a summer adventure, I don't know, right, you know? Or maybe repurpose them somehow, like incorporate them into their main map, if ever, right? Or make them something, I don't know, whatever, right? So then, like, anyway, so I don't consider 1.6 a filler patch, I consider it a DLC, okay? And that could be a separate issue altogether. Now, speaking of 2.0 and 2.1 right now, they are not considered filler patches because obviously there's tons of Inazuma content, as we know, and we're only in the second half, starting to be in the second half of 2.1 now. And although 2.1 second half is going to be mainly focused on the Moon Chase Festival, which does sound like it could be a filler, but then it will be some mini games and some fetch quests, as we know already, based on the event preview for 2.1 preview live stream. However, still, if you think about it, we still got to finish the current first chapter of the Archon quest here, right? We got to continue it and finish it here in 2.1. And also, we got our Inazuma characters, obviously. So then, like, I wouldn't say that 2.1 is a filler patch. You could maybe even argue that 2.1 is a partial filler patch to celebrate the game's 1-year anniversary, but I wouldn't say that it is. Now, here's the thing. The next patch, 2.2, we don't know much about it yet, and that live stream for the preview has not come out yet with the date, but it's expected to be next week. Of course, later this week it will become the anniversary celebration for the fan art live stream, right? But next week it is expected to become the actual, like, 2.2 preview live stream, right? So we'll know more then, right? But the speculation is that 2.2 is definitely going to be a filler patch because aside from not just having no notable 5-star new characters being announced and teased by MiHoYo themselves on their Twitter and their other social media platforms, and including their HoYo Lab, right? Aside from no new characters being brought out, right? But in addition, like, there are also the potential that it's going to be, again, more festivals or like mini games or like events and fetch quests again, right? Versus actual like main Archon quest storyline progression. Because technically at the end of the first half of 2.1 here, at the end of the Archon quest, for those of you who have completed it already, no spoilers, but basically, like, it sounds like we're done in Inazuma story-wise, despite the fact that 2.2 will still release, potentially, the final remaining island of Inazuma, because there are supposed to be 6 in total, and as of right now, there are only 5 that have been released. 3 in 2.0 and 2 in 2.1. So there's potential that they may release the final, we don't know for sure either, that they're going to release the final island in 2.2 potentially. And regardless of that though, it just sounds like there isn't much more main storyline, right? It could just be like side stories, like, oh, there's another island, go explore it, you know what I mean? So anyway, overall though, for the conclusion of this video, I was just wanting to like kind of go down memory lane, talking about different patches and talking about if filler patches are good or bad. Now here, just to summarize it once and for all, I think overall, all the patches have been fun. And obviously the game has high quality and lots of investment in it from the developers, right? So they're doing a great job. But I will also quickly touch on now why I considered quitting this game in 1.4 and what stopped me. Why I considered quitting 1.4 was the same as other YouTubers and streamers. Now, at the time, I was not streaming. I didn't do this. So I just wanted to quit because I just thought there was nothing more to look forward to. However, of course, I think MiHoYo felt it as well. And that's why in the 1.5 preview, I believe, and 1.6 preview, they started, like, you know, kind of teasing, right? You know, Inazuma coming, right? So then what kept me going was the hope of going to Inazuma, which we are now here. The thing is, though, I think, now that we're here, and in a way I'm kind of burned out too, from getting Raiden, Kujosara, Aloy, right? Sayu, like Ayaka, Yoimiya, like all these characters, right? And building them and everything like that. I'm getting a little burned out too, but I'm not going to quit the game, but I'm just saying, like, I haven't been playing as much as well. I only play like casually. I do my daily routine. I do talk about that in another video. But anyway, I just do my daily routines now, and I'm starting, and I talk about resin refreshing. I did do lots of resin refreshing in the last 2 months, but now I'm considering, moving forward, I'm going to stop resin refreshing, or at least reduce it as well, right? Not only just to save money, but just in general. And also with Kokomi not being very popular, I'm still going to roll for her, but then, like, I'm not sure that, you know, it's like a must-have for all the other characters moving forward. We're not sure yet. Anyway, things to come, right? But long story short, I think that filler patches are okay. The reason why is because if you want to quit the game, that's the perfect time to quit, right? You can quit it and come back when there's more content, right? You're not going to miss much in a filler patch anyway, number one. If you are planning to, like, just play this casually, that's also okay, just to keep it going. Filler patches are good there. Lastly, filler patches can help you save money and resin, and also, like, primal gems, etc. Because you can continue doing some of those events and get the rewards, save them up for future reruns or characters that you actually want, right, you know? And just skip all the characters you don't want and don't care about the other stuff that's happening, right? You know, just get your free stuff, right? You know, and that's fine, right, you know? Now, whether it's bad or not is that filler patches are bad in the sense that they're boring. They can get boring. They can get tired really fast, right? I mean, come on, let's be real here. We all have short attention spans, and there's other things vying for our attention and our time. We all only got 24 hours in a day. Some of us have jobs, right? Some of us have actual real-world stuff to deal with, right? You know, jobs or school or, like, businesses or whatever, right? Investments, etc., right? You know, we have real-life stuff to do, right? So I'm just saying, like, filler patches, if there's too many of them consecutively, it will kill off the player base. So anyway, this is just my analysis of filler patches and overall talking about all the patches and kind of giving an idea of what I was feeling overall and what I'm going to be doing moving forward. So moving forward, in order to develop this channel further, I will also be doing more of these kind of content. As you noticed, I actually don't do damage tests. I don't do that. I also don't do, you know, like major, like, comparisons of min-maxing and all that stuff. I just talk about topics in general, and I find that to be more casual and more doable for me because of my my time and my own schedule, and I hope that's okay with you guys. Anyway, I will continue on with more videos, so please feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and leave me some comments. I love to interact with you guys. I like to get ideas for videos as well, so feel free to comment, okay? So I'll see you guys in the next one, and please check out my other videos. Thank you. This dragged on a little bit long, but thank you, guys. I appreciate you.